The sharing economy is bound to make the industry even more promising. How exactly? That's what we're going to discuss with our guest, Henry Yap, General Manager of Robinson's Land. Good day, Henry.
Good day.
Good day.
Good day, and happy to have you here because the sharing economy is really, as we said earlier, changing a lot of things. I mean, it's changing the way people transport themselves from place to place, although the regulatory structure is also getting more interesting
And the barriers
exciting.
and the barriers to entry are
That's
actually
right.
getting lower for people to participate, right?
Aside from the property sector, we'll go through that later. What else do you see that excites you when it comes to the sharing economy?
Actually, there are a lot of industries that benefit from the shared economies. We have seen in the Philippines the growth of the transport industry through Grab and Uber, and then we've also seen
No more Uber.
no more Uber.
Or TNVs.
Yeah, TNVs. And we've also seen restaurants because right now many of them pull together for deliveries. So it's more convenient for most of them to be able to deliver, to do home deliveries. We've also seen just as simple as crowdfunding or requesting for recommendations. They go to all of this social media asking for
So the trip
friends,
advisors.
even those who are not their friends, for comments and recommendations.
Well, it's a question of trust, no?
Absolutely, and that interaction is on a daily, if not hourly basis already with your users and your customers, right?
And if you look at it, people who have been investing in properties, they like their own space. They like having that feeling that it's exclusive, but that's changing.
Yes, that's correct. More and more people who want to take advantage because they are not able to maximize their investment. Some of them will take longer time to lease it to people who want a longer period of time. So some of them have actually looked into the shared economy so that they can earn more. Fortunately, unfortunately, there are groups who agree with that, but there are also some who do not want that because of privacy issues or other concerns.
You think about it, you're looking at a menu of options now for different users, and if you think about it, one thing we look at is the SME sector. 99% of the registered enterprises are SMEs, and yet they have a hard time in terms of paying their overheads. Do you think that is driving also the property sector
Yes,
now?
it allows you for extra money. The concept of being able to tap sources other than the traditional means actually helps benefit and address your requirements on a day-to-day basis.
I guess the OFW money is also coming in, and as these people no longer bring their money in to buy gadgets, they're looking for places to invest.
Yes, one of the best form of investment is properties. As you know, properties is there, it's forever. Unless you want to dispose, you actually will not feel the decrease in the prices. In the Philippines, compared to other countries, even if the economy is bad, the prices actually do not go down as bad as other countries do. So for them, properties is actually a very safe investment.
Especially since they're not here all the time. And they want something that's tangible, it's there. Whether I leave the country, it's still there when I get
Yes,
back.
and when they leave the country, they can still earn because somebody is taking care of it and somebody is renting.
Have you seen any differences in terms of the returns of investment, in terms of the kind of asset property classes? Like, for example, land, for example, is obviously something you hold on to. It's not something, as they say, you're buying air in the sky. I mean, do you see different behaviors of these asset classes, whether it be condominiums, office space, or even just raw land?
Generally, all asset classes are doing very well. But of course, the smaller properties tend to get higher values because of the scale. For example, if you were only owning a 22 square meter as compared to owning 100 square meters, you can price your property better if you have a small, because the absolute amount is way within a bigger group's capability. So the bigger the project, then there are fewer your buyers.
Absolutely. So it's a higher chance of take up, especially with if you're looking at a middle class that's growing, right?
Yes, that's right.
But how does it work exactly? Like, how big is this trend getting to be?
Okay.
Like, you're in the property sector. I know that, and you told me before that in the Rojas Boulevard area, you see a lot of the Chinese people really coming in and
the case
investing
of the
in
Rojas
properties.
Boulevard development areas, actually were benefiting from the residential requirements of the POGO. Those that are into the gaming
The gaming
industry.
sector, yes.
They, of course, wanted residential projects that are very close to their workplace. So for developers like us, we are able to capitalize because we have ready available units that are within their sphere of influence. In the in the Rojas Boulevard area, generally the Pasay, MOA area, they have a very good take-up for foreigners.
How do you take advantage of the shared economy in those areas?
Okay. In our newer projects, some of our projects do allow our buyers to be able to lease out. Unfortunately, we cannot say that for all the projects. The reason being that many of these projects were developed and the master deed were created many years ago.
So there's a need of restrictions.
There
in
is
terms
a
of
list
usage,
of
yes.
restrictions that the condominium associations, including the developers, that had to comply.
There wasn't even talk of shared economy
Yes,
or no
it was many-
Airbnb at that time.
Many years ago, that was not yet possible. So where the master deed allows that to happen, then they can take advantage. So somebody who is looking to capitalize on that type of business will have to scrutinize if the development that they would choose allows
Allows
that.
Yes.
the monetization. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
if you're allowed to monetize it different ways, that's a good benefit. But it's also, at the end of the day, very different from the goals of someone who wants to live there and wants the things that come to it, the privacy,
Yes.
security, whatnot.
Yes,
right?
that is correct. There are existing developments where the bulk of the residents in the area do not allow that. Firstly, privacy issues. Second, they don't know who are their neighbors because every day there is somebody that
Somebody
enters.
new.
And
That's scary, you know.
That's true, that's
Especially you're living there with your family.
Well, you want a sense of
Small
community,
children.
right? If not
Yes,
security, right?
yes. So, but unfortunately, we have a disruptive form of business that is also beneficial for some.
Yes.
So, the right way to approach this is basically to be able to disclose to buyers what are things that are allowed or not allowed in that condominium development.
I remember earlier when we were starting this discussion, we talked about trust. That in this shared economy, it's basically a question of trust. And I think because of technology, there's rating, no?
Yes.
No, parang
They are
you know
able to
that
provide
these people-
feedback.
It's
Yes.
user-generated
Yes.
ratings as well, right?
Yes.
The feedback
Which
are
makes it
provided by
easier.
users and others can have access to those feedback.
It makes the trust issue smaller.
Yes,
in the
but
sense that you
there
don't
are
really have
also
risks.
provisions like if you go Airbnb, they normally encourage you to do secondary insurance because you cannot guarantee that the user will
Is a good
not create
person.
problems.
Absolutely. So you basically need recourse. But I guess a question, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I was thinking how much the secondary insurance
So
will
it's
cost.
up to you because your development or the things that you put in the unit may vary depending on.
Okay, so the valuation with assessors and your third-party
Yes,
insurance.
yes, but they normally do that or encourage you to do that so as to self-protect the owner of the property.
Okay. Now, for the developers, I mean, you're on the cutting edge of these things in terms of providing the options. Have you seen that now factored into your portfolio in terms of developing those that are for secondary markets and those that are for own use?
We have projects that allow that. We also have projects that do not allow that. What we have noticed is that the projects have allowed that type of development actually have a different market segment or different buyers. Buyers who are actually investors. Those buyers who still want the privacy, who want sense of community, they tend not to buy or purchase this type of development.
How hot is this thing?
Yeah, which segments are growing
what's the
faster? Yeah.
What's the take-up for the investment side?
Right now, we only have very, very few projects that allowed us to happen. I don't think we have statistics from an industry point of view, but I would say that generally Filipinos are more adventurous. They also want to maximize the benefits that they can get from their resources. So that is gaining some traction today.
And you're